Welcome to the We Love Wrestling Spot. My name is Terry. I'm with Danielle from the Pretty Hills. Today, we're going to be talking to a podcast. It's all about the culture. You know, we represent the culture. It is the Culture Podcast. How are you doing today, sir?
What is going on, everybody? This is you should know, Omar Kill Solomon, one half of the Culture Cast. For the culture, by the culture. We do it for the culture. If you're not down with the culture, I just can't help you.
Oh, that just said it all. Well, let's get into it. The first question I asked everybody who comes on, I ask, why do you love wrestling / what started your love for wrestling?
No problem. So once again, my name is Omar from the Chicagoland area, one half of this Culture Cast team. Why do I love wrestling? Such a simple but complex answer, I guess. We all remember like that first time watching wrestling growing up. For me, the first earliest performer I can remember, because I was always in some type of sport, but I always say back when I had hair, back in those days. And Tatanka was the first wrestling performer. It wasn't no Hulk Hogan, it wasn't Razor Ramon, it was Tatanka, him running around. And it's so funny how it's so anti-indigenous people, but technically for some reason Tatanka stood out to me. Him running around, and I remember that video game, that old WWE arcade game, and Tatanka was in it. I thought he was the coolest thing ever. Characters matter. And I really fell in love with like the character style of wrestling. So then I started watching Monday. Then I got older, and we had the Monday Night Wars, and then high school, like everyone, you start to fall off. You're playing football, doing all types of sports. You go away to college. You get introduced to, you still watch wrestling on the side, but you're not fully committed. And I think, like many people my age, I'm 34, CM Punk being from Chicago, he helped bring me back. The pipe bomb definitely just reinvigorated my love of wrestling. Joined up in a wrestling group. My co-host, Rashad, he's really big in independent wrestling. He introduced my eyes to a lot of indie wrestling. We came together, put this podcast together last December. So it's been fun. We've been interviewing some independent wrestlers. We talk shit. Can I curse?
Of course.
Do your thing, bro.
For the culture.
For the culture.
We don't censor nobody. We want you to be yourself. This is
authentic self.
Won't he do it? So I talk trash about AEW wrestling music because it's all horrible other than Judas. And life is great.
Wow.
So,
are you a producer? Is that why you said that?
No, I just I think I got blocked by the AEW music producer. I looked on Twitter the other day. But I'm really big on music. Music is like essential to the soul. Like, I'm not a fan of like recent WWE music, because I always think, like, you think about that big title win, you want that song to blare, that beat to drop, and I just think it's all been like Fruity Loop beats. And then and we're not even going to talk about the lack of hip hop or urban culture in music recently too. So I'm tired of that flow rider shit. But enough about that.
Right. So I heard you say being from. Are you in Chicago?
Yes, I am in the suburbs of Chicago. So for all those folks listening out there, I'm from the suburbs of the Chicagoland area. Some people say I'm from the city. I'm not from the city. I'm 30 minutes from Chicago, so I'm an honest person. So that's called the Chicagoland area. But yeah, I'm from Chicago pretty much.
Okay, because I'm in the Midwest. I'm in Indianapolis, so when I hear people are in the Midwest, Naptown, yeah. When I hear people in the Midwest, it like to excite me because it's wrestling fans all over. So let's talk. Is there any beats in AEW or WWE right now, themes that you like?
I'll go recently. I think Karrion Kross. I went to Eastern Illinois University. My major was communication studies. So I did a lot of radio production, broadcasting. So I fell in love with like the whole presentation of how you present yourself. Like, so now I'm a stickler on promos, and I'm a stickler on the character and the production. So I thought Karrion Kross had an amazing introduction back before pre-Rona. I thought, you just felt it. It felt different. It felt like it was a big deal. Judas, I loved the live performance. I forget the young lady's name at the Chicago
Meredith
show.
Bell.
Yes, that was an amazing performance. I remember watching that on Twitter and then follow up with the live performance. So I think Judas is a dope song before, and I thought it was dope with the live performance. I think Cody's is not too bad. Everyone tells. I thought I'll take that back. Josiah Williams did Perfection, and I rock with Josiah. So I'll give Sean Spears some love. And everyone keeps telling me to listen to Kenny Omega's. I forgot what it's called, but I try to listen to it. I listen to it like multiple times. Like one of those, like I put the AirPods in, I put the beats on, I went into my car to decompress. It didn't hit me yet. And maybe because he's a tag team wrestler, maybe. So who knows? Once he's a singles performer again, we'll see. But that's about it, really. WWE, nothing recently. Post CFO has hit me.
Okay.
Okay, feel that.
So you're a Jim Johnston fan as well?
Some of them, yeah. Like, to me, I'm a fan of Mark, like the 3-6 Mafia, the Mark Henry beat. Somebody's going to get their ass beat. You just felt that shit. Like, Tony Khan's a millionaire, bro. Like, you can pay for a hip-hop performer other than, like, I heard Private Party's new theme. I'm like, come on, that's basic. Like, you can get Mega Ran to do something. There's so many performers that's out there. You can get Wale to do something. I don't know. It's
what about Big Swole thing?
It's not bad. One thing, especially as a person of color, so many times, like, we're so quick to be critical of things, but I'm never going to be as critical to a person of color because we're already hard enough on ourselves as it is. So I might have an opinion on it, but I'm never going to, like, put it out there in the world because we got to, like, for example, I don't like the show The Chi, but I won't say it publicly, even though I just said it.
You're just not a fan.
Sense.
It's not a bad show. You're just not a fan.
Yeah. Okay. No, Big Swoles is dope. And I love when she's on the podcast with Swerve and all them too.
Oh, yeah. That is dope. I like that podcast. So what made you start your podcast? You said you and your friend Rashad, who's your co-host, you're in Chicago area. You started back in December. So what was that point that you guys was like, you know what, we're going to just go out and do this right here?
So we're in a wrestling group on Facebook, pretty diverse, inclusive group, whites, blacks, everybody. A lot of people that come from all walks of life. We have belt collectors. We have people that get autographs from like every performer you can name, from New Japan to Ring of Honor to WWE. People that are at every live show, people from St. Louis area, Word to the Dirty, people all over the States. And we've been in this Facebook group for a while. Great combos. We do like Christmas Secret Santa type shit.
What
so
group is it?
It's called The Outsiders on Facebook.
The Outsiders, okay.
Mm-hmm. So we like to have a lot of fun and we keep it real. And I know a few of the guys from my high school at the time, from the region. A lot of us went to high school together. Some of them grew up together. So I know a few that I've met some through college, some folks through just fraternal stuff. So great little connections that you build. And then I just had the bright idea one day. I'm like, man, because people like always would tell me like, oh, where you should do like a podcast. It'd be dope. And I'm like, you know what? I always thought about that. And I work my full-time job. I'm a college counselor. So I've been doing that for about 10, maybe 11 years, recruiting kids to college. But I'm also like sophisticated ratchet at the same time. So it's kind of hard balancing the two. So with the podcast life, I'm able to like kind of not be, I'm always myself, but I'm able to let loose a little bit more. And, say words like shit and damn every day. But no, so me and Rashad, we always talked about it. That Rashad, he's a producer and he loves independent wrestling. He does a lot of stuff with freelance. He works for Pro Wrestling Tees up in Chicago. He's a plug.
Search on prowrestlingtees.com/we love wrestling.
Yes.
Pick up one.
Yes.
There it is.
There it is.
So we met up and started recording, and it was fun. Like you could tell from like our first episodes, we were getting things together, and then my fraternity brother, he doesn't even watch wrestling, so I just sent him the pod, and I just said, go start listening to it, and see how we grow and see how we're progressing, and he could just tell like our chemistry started getting there, and then we reached out to the independent show that's coming up in Iowa, the Black Wrestlers Matter, and that's
yes.
Are you going to be there?
I'm thinking I'm going to road trip with Rashad, so I'll probably be
Don't
there.
think, do it. I'm serious.
I'm donating money too, but I think Rashad's going to be there. But we've been it's been great. We got to interview Frontman Josh C. We got to interview Airwolf, Jocelyn Navarro. All that are going to be at that show. So we did. You can find them all now, streaming on all your platforms. Interview with Frontman Josh C, who's a ball of energy. Airwolf, who's like the youngest 21-year-old stud. Jocelyn Navarro, I found out she was a Delta. I'm a Q. Life is lit. So it was dope.
Yeah,
we gonna have to talk. We gonna have to talk. We gonna have to talk.
Well, go ahead, Danielle.
After
After the recording, but then I'm gonna kick it to you for your questions.
Yeah. So I guess I usually do my patented 2 questions. So I mean, I hear great things, and I mean, your podcast seems unique because not only do you talk and you discuss things, like it seems real validating, like you have facts behind it, you have your communications background to touch on why you look at things with a certain lens. Like where do you see taking that? Like I love it. Like I love, because everybody can have an opinion, right? And it's like, not everybody wants to hear your opinion, but the fact that you're telling me, that these encounters or that promo touched you here, or maybe they should have did this, or, where do you see taking all of this real constructive criticism validation as a podcast?
I think wrestling is subjective. I think especially because I have my point of view, Rashad has a different point of view. We have friends that we bring on the show. I have a friend named Jay. He's a troll. He hates on anything that's AEW. Lightly, of course. I think the key thing is I try to stay as fair and balanced as possible because I understand that I might care for something, but other people might not like it. So I don't try to I try my best not to be negative because I think once you put things out into the world, we live in a culture right now that anything that you say can be used against you. Anything that you can say can be flipped on you. It can be cut into certain things. But
in a public court.
Yeah. So I think as we grow, I definitely just want to, once things become normal, go to more independent shows and kind of do live, streams there. Like before, we were at, I'm from Chicago, so I went to War Games. I was in Chicago in November at NXT. That was dope.
We were there.
Yeah, I was there. It was so funny. My dumb ass. I see Alexis Littlefoot. She does all types of stuff, right? I remember I tweeted her a few times. Number one, because she. But anyways, just TMF and make your first move. But anyways, she dope. So I took a picture with her. Mind you, I'm not even thinking there's a guy next to her. I'm like, man, that guy look familiar, but I'm not even thinking twice. I get back home, I go on the internet. That was West Side Gun. I'm just like, good. I was just by Griselda, and I ain't even realized I was so focused on taking it. No, not knocking her, but I'm like, damn. But that was pretty dope. But yeah, I think just going to live shows, building from there, gaining more chemistry because I know it's fun. I think our goal is not to make a perfect podcast because if you strive for perfection, you're going to fall on your face. So just the goal is just to lift as you climb, I would say, is to grow, to get better, and to just have fun with it at the end of the day.
Okay. So I guess my roundup would be with everything that you shared, and I see that you guys have grown pretty quickly, right? Because you went from an idea to doing what you're doing to, taking pictures with people, in the crowds, in the stands, and interacting with independents and hearing their shows. Do you have any desire to maybe use your degree to maybe do sports broadcasting or wrestling analyzing or anything at any of the big promotions, or no?
If anything, it'll be ring announcing on the side. But I'm really big on doing whatever your passion is. And like I said, I've been a counselor for 11 years. I love recruiting students. I serve on the executive board for counselors in the state of Illinois. So that's my true passion. Being a college recruiter, helping kids. I'm an athletic guy too, so I'm able to go into locker rooms when I'm on campus and really work with the football and basketball teams too. So that is my passion. But You always gotta have more room for a new hustle. I mean, I can always, if asked, I'll do some hosting, and if asked, should go into certain events, like there's a watch party in the Chicagoland area, or Indianapolis ain't that far from EIU. Charleston is about 2 hours from Naptown. That ain't shit but a drive.
Terry knows all the drive.
As long as there's dark liquor or tequila somewhere nearby, I'm good. So it don't bother me. And, so I'm always down once things get back to normal. That was I planned on like doing a lot of traveling. Like I performed on the stage at Trap Karaoke before, and that was dope. So I feel like the more you get out there, is more fun. And then, like I said, Rashard, he's my co-host. He's always at every type of independent show, and I always tell him like, bro, I'm gonna be at these independent shows with you, but I'll be busy. And my word, actually, I just be kicking it. I can't even lie. I just be like, man, I can go to this wrestling show, or I can go to the Jack Daniels party, and I'll be having to, weigh the odds sometimes. But but once again, I think that also talks into wrestling. Some people are into those hardcore shows, a targeted audience like AEW. Some folks are mainstream like WWE, where you might not like what the product is because it's not perfect, but there might be that 17-year-old or 7-year-old kid that's like, oh my God, I want to be like Ricochet. Or I want to be like Sasha Banks. So you got to be subjective and mindful of everything that's happening, because your view is not the vocal minority. Your view is not the majority of wrestling fans.
Okay. All right. I feel that. That's a perfect way to end it right there. It's not the majority of wrestling fans' thoughts. Before we close out of here, Omar, can I call you O?
You should.
Can you tell them where they can reach you at your social media, where they can find your podcast and all?
No problem. So, the Culture Cast, for the culture, by the culture. We do it for the culture. And if you're not down with the culture, I just can't help you. You can find us on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us on social media, Culture Cast Pod on Instagram and Facebook, the Culture Cast Pod _ on Twitter. Click the link in the bio. We got merch too. 100% of all our proceeds are donated to independent wrestling. You can follow my co-host Richard at I am Richard. I think I am Richard H. So Richard Hayes, Big Ray, Worldwide Ray is what he's known by now, because he's worldwide. And then you can follow me at the Culture Cast Pod, because I'm running that. I don't want to give you my personal Twitter because I don't know y'all people. I know y'all, but everybody else listening, y'all might tell my school or some shit, man. I ain't got time for that shit, bro. All right, y'all might be like, hey, we saw that bald dude on the podcast. He was talking all that shit. It could be those AEW fans I make fun of, those marks with no lives. They ain't got no women. They could be like, oh my God. Like,
oh my God. Hey, look, that's his feeling. You know what I'm saying? However you love wrestling, how you feel about wrestling, we okay with that. Some AEW fans who
I love AEW. I love AEW.
And we still watch AEW. Matter of fact,
I love AEW.
they know it's only like 250 of these. That's just a shout out to AEW.
I did watch I watched War Horse yesterday. I saw
give him your social media.
Hey, he gave us social media. What we gonna say? Catch the Culture Cast. Make sure you listen to him. It's for the culture, by the culture. We love that. I'm with Danielle from the Pretty Hills, and I'm Terry. And like I always say, if I love wrestling and you love wrestling, then we love wrestling. It's too sweet
Won't he
for
do
the
it?
culture. Ooh.